a lot of what I read about social media usage and a lot of people who seem more knowledgeable than I in this space. I think I think the correlation between depression, the correlation between if insecurity were a metric, let me say that, all of that I think is pretty clear that being on social media to a certain extent is not good for our mental well-being.
Of course.
Right? You guys own social media platforms. He's the largest social media influencer. Uh, how do you, can I call it like an ethical conundrum? Like,
There's a larger point to the problem, right? One is all mental health, depression, everything else. The other is the impact on kids, right? I'll start by saying that, I'll come to how we deal with it, but I'll start by saying that there are lots of perils in society. There are bad actors in the physical world. Likewise, those bad actors exist on the digital world, right? There are live rapes that are conducted. There is live murders that have happened. There are live suicides that have happened. I have had the unfortunate this thing of even seeing some of this, right? What it casts on our children is crazy, right? So the impact that it could cause on children is deeply negative, right? Very, very deeply negative. From the aspiration side to body shaming to how they mentally feel about themselves to everything else out there, right? So I think most social media platforms around the world have always said that we're the intermediary and we're not responsible for what's going on the content on the platform. I think India has just passed an interesting regulation, which is making intermediaries accountable, right? And I think, and I'm not here to praise the government in any way, but I think it's the right thing to do. At our end, what we ensure is a whole bunch of things around the platform being family safe, child safe, weeding out a lot of porn, soft porn, animal porn, all kinds of stuff that comes onto the platform. Right? Trust me, in child porn, like it's crazy. It's just mad, the amount of it that comes. You've got to use AI and tech to do that because the human layer cannot do it. Live is another hugely risky proposition. We've launched live tipping for creators, but you've got to have AI tools and human moderation to cut it in real time. Things which are hard to do is hate speech and anything like that in that realm because AI really can't weave it. So what we do is we observe that if a certain video or a certain piece of content reaches a certain velocity in a certain period of time, we look at it for manual moderation. If it breaks the next threshold, another guy looks at it. And then we're waiting to see, is it illicit? Is it enticing? Is it hate speech? Is it, communal in nature? And then we bring it down. But I think in the last 5 years of doing this, we haven't had any massive issue. Otherwise, you'd have read about it, right? So I think the tools are working. And because we're preloaded on all these phones, we have to keep the app family safe. So you can spend hours on the platform. You won't find racy, raunchy content. So I would pride that we've done it the right way. Yeah. Lots to do still because, hackers are smart and, people who want to game the system will do it. But I think it's a real problem. And on one side, I do feel that companies need to step up and take responsibility.
would you allow, if you had to block your kids from one particular platform and say that no way are you allowed to touch this, which one would it be?
It's extreme because, by the way, you can find a lot of illicit content on YouTube. YouTube, as you go deeper and deeper, can take you down a rabbit hole of various sorts without getting into details. Instagram has a lot of nonsense, so does Twitter. Yeah. Right?
Which one's the worst? For anybody watching, if they want to if their child goes up to them and says, "Mummy, Daddy, tell me one platform I should not touch," what should they say?
I think the entire phone.
Do you give your daughter a phone? No, she's too
No,
young.
she's too young. But you know what I think is happening is our parents' lifetime is, last generation's lifetime is being lived out in 1 year, 2 years.
Yeah.
So the amount of experiences and information and everything, we're oversupplied with it. And hence the depression that would have lasted, like sadness that would have lasted, over 5 years, 2 episodes of sadness is now like in few months, 5 episodes of sadness.
Correct.
Right now, we weren't ever programmed to go through so much, either happiness or sadness, so much, right? So the pace at which we're, consuming content and being connected, all of that is just insane, right?
Yeah, I think moderation is the answer.
Yeah.
I don't think preventing them from going anywhere, because there's some great stuff that,
You can learn, yeah.
And what is that number, moderation?
I think if I was a parent,
30 minutes?
I'd say an hour a day max.
I don't think it's a time thing. I think if you have access to what they're looking at, that should be enough. Because like there's a 12-year-old kid who's amazing at coding, and all he does is look up coding videos. Would you be like,
Yeah.
just an hour? No, you'd be like, okay, as long as you know what they're looking at, I think.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
There must be some good filtering software.
I'm
and
sure
stuff, right?
they exist. Which is, if I just know the YouTube history of whatever's being looked at, that
So what I have done is, and this happened with my kid, she's 12 now, but when she was 10, when she was browsing videos on YouTube, something came up that she shouldn't have seen. And my wife and I had to talk it out with her. So it was a hard moment, but I think it was a teachable moment where she understood. As kids grow up, you teach them about good touch and bad touch, right? In the same way, I think you need to educate them about the perils that exist. Because without getting into details, like there are zillions of pedophiles out there, right? Online. There's tons of madness that happens. So you have to be, if you have educating your children around touch, around sexual education, I think this is now a new chapter in that book that needs to get added. And so we do monitor. So what we've done is, she's now 12, she has a phone, but they're all linked to my ID. So I know where she's going, I know what she's browsing, I know what she's seeing. It's all in all the logins from the browser to the accounts are mine. And school, she needs to have an email ID, and I have that password. So,
But can we just postpone this handing over a phone to 18, let's say? Is that a possibility?
I'd love to. But the other thing is,
Security
it's a
also.
security thing. So if she's in the school bus and something happens, now of course the teacher there has a phone. You can argue it that way. But
No, it could just be a only call dad watch. I'm just.
I wish it was possible. But the exposure that they all have.
Yeah. She's what, 7 now? 6?
My daughter, 6.5.
Yeah, so there's
it's
a
also a
way.
social
time.
circle thing.
You have
Anyway, Umang has given us something usable for the last 30 seconds.
Hi, I'm Nikhil. Thank you for watching the podcast. Let us know who your favorite guest has been and who you'd like to watch next. Thank you.